Hey friends, and welcome back to Stronger Every Day. So today we're going to talk about Psalms. It's 126, 5 and 6. I read this verse the other day and it really just kind of resonated with me. So I want to read it to you, so I'm going to share it to you now. Again, it's Psalms 126, 5 and 6. Those who plant in tears will harvest with shouts of joy. They weep as they go to plant their seed, but they sing as they return with the harvest. Friends, we have a harvest coming, right? We may be crying when we're planting the seeds, but we have a harvest coming. I, for the first time in my life, over this past year, actually believe that. I actually believe that we have a harvest coming. I feel like the attacks from the devil that I have now over this past 14 months for me are his attempts to derail me on the path God has me to. And so it's him. He's not just gonna like allow you just, oh, okay, I give up, you know, you do whatever, I'll give up. No, he's gonna come at you hard when you start going against all of the mind tricks and things that he's done to you over the years. He's not just gonna be like, oh, okay, you know, good luck, you know. He's gonna come at you hard, and that's where I feel like we feel like there's no getting better when you have depression and anxiety and mental illness. I feel like that's where we get defeated, thinking this is never going to change. It's never going to get any better. I'm always going to be this way. That's because the devil is in your brain telling you this all on repeat. And believe it or not, you can be a child of God. You can love God with every ounce of you, but you can still hear all of the devil's thoughts in your mind. We have a harvest coming. If you ever stop to think about why am I like this? Why am I always depressed, always having anxiety? Why am I in the pits way more than I'm in the palace? Why is my life this way? Friends, I have thought that. I've been very open about that. I've had depression and anxiety for 28 years. This past 14 months has been a lot different for me in a positive way, but it's taking that long to get here. You have to understand that when the devil is attacking us this hard, there's a reason, friends, and that is because God has a purpose for you. God has a purpose for you, and the devil is trying to hit you with everything he has to keep you down, to keep you away from that purpose, to keep you from being the light, from being the one that people look at and think, man, you know, they're really living for the Lord. They've handled this the right way. What is it? What's in them now that's making them different? And so let me think about that. I'm kind of interested in that. I want to be a part of that, and that's what's bringing people to God. But when we get derailed and we stop focusing on the Lord and we get all of these thoughts in our head and we get into these pits that we can't seem to get out of, and the devil's telling us you're never going to get out of. One of the biggest things he told me for years was, sure, Chrissy, you may get better, right? You know, you've done this song and dance long enough. You're going to get better, right? There's a light at the end of the tunnel, and it might be a week, it might be a month, it might be a year, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel, but it's going to come back again. But when it comes back again, it's going to be longer and harder. And to be real honest, over the course of the years, that's been semi-true. You know, he likes to give you semi-truths, because if he just gives you a bold-faced lie, you're not going to believe it. So he gives you semi-truths. And what I had to come to realize is that if I don't change my mindset, then yes, I'm never going to harvest what God has given. And using me as an example and coming on here and talking to you all about mental health struggles that I've had, and they've been a plethora. Just to give you kind of a rundown, if you've never seen a video before, I've had depression and anxiety for 28 plus years. It's been a bad struggle. There's been I've been to multiple therapists, multiple psychiatrists, have been on multiple different medications, talked to multiple counselors. I've tried just about everything you can think of to get better. I have attempted suicide several times. I have thought about detailed plans on more occasions than I could count. I have prayed to and from work that the Lord would just let me wreck, right? Just take me out so that I don't have to keep going. I have, in fact, begged God to bring me home. There's been a ton of situations, and I've really not delved too deep into that. I'm not sure how to address that respectfully yet, and until I feel like God's released me to do that, then I'm not going to talk about necessarily all of my past as far as things that have kind of molded my mind. But I'm learning on a daily basis different things that have kind of contributed to my thinking and the way I am, and how to stop that from happening again. And you know, things happen sometimes when you're young, and while it does set you back, because those things, you know, they happen to millions of people, but you would never know that because no one talks about it. But say person A and B, you're gonna have different upbringings, and person A might not have to deal with what person B dealt with. But here's the thing, once you get older, you can't keep saying, well, I had a hard childhood. It is unfortunate that you had a tough childhood. It's unfortunate that I had a tough childhood. The thing of it being is that you at some point have to become responsible for your life and your decisions. How are you going to react, and how are you going to move forward to what happened when you were younger? How are you going to react and move forward to what happened if it's a situation in your 30s or in your 40s or in your 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s? How are you going to move forward from that and not keep blaming that situation for your behaviors and your attitudes? We always need to take time to heal and heal properly. I think we put a lot of pressure on society our society puts a lot of pressure on us today to just like get over it, right? Just heal and get over it. And if not, just shut up talking about it. I think that's detrimental to us to, yes, we want to heal, but you want to take your time to heal and not squash it under the rug and then never deal with it and then wonder why 5 years from now you're still reacting to something. It's because you never took the proper time and energy to heal from that situation. You just swept it under the rug and tried to move on. And while you don't need to dwell on a situation, you need to heal from it. And I think that's where we kind of get it crisscrossed a lot. You know, everything's instant in our society now, and you know, people that have never been through what you've been through think that you should get over it a lot quicker. But then when it happens to them, you know, it's a different story. And so I love this verse because, friends, we have a harvest coming, right? All of our tears that we have shed, all of the seeds that we're sowing, first off, God has collected every single tear. He has been right beside you through every single situation. I've spoke on many a times on this channel that God has carried me in his arms through the majority of my life. And I don't mean that he doesn't carry me every day, but I mean when I physically couldn't do it, he has held me in his arms and carried me through. There is no doubt that without the Lord, without having him in my life, that I would be here today. There is no doubt about that. If I didn't have the faith, the hope, and the love, and the relationship that I have with God, there is no way that I would still be here today. It's focusing on the fact that we planted these seeds with our tears, but we got a harvest coming, friends. Don't let the devil take you down a path, right? Stay on that path with the Lord. And I know my husband said before, you know, sometimes even for him who doesn't struggle with mental illness, he'll say, I feel sometimes I'm almost frozen and I don't want to take a step because I'm afraid it'll be a step in the wrong direction. Here's the thing. If you're walking straight and something happens and you think, I think that's the Lord, and you go left and you find out that isn't the Lord, you get right back on that path, right? You're gonna have to take steps, and sometimes those steps might not be what the Lord's telling you to do, but you're gonna have to take steps. When he talked to me when I was on the floor with my face in the floor bawling that I could not live this life any longer. He was going to have to step in and take control. I could not handle this life. Lord, bring me home. And you know, why is this happening? Why am I having to live with this at that time for almost 27 years? And he said, because I want you to share. Right? How many other people do you think are going through what you're going through and they feel exactly like you do, that they're alone? And that broke my heart, to think that other people are feeling the way I'm feeling. And so if it means that I have to be vulnerable and be raw and be real and come on here and say things that are hard to tell other people, right? It's hard to tell people that I've attempted suicide many times. It's hard to tell people that I've thought about it on many occasions. It's hard to tell people that I'm not perfect. It's hard to tell people that, you know, I have mental illness. I've tried to hide it my entire life. I wanted to appear like my other friends appeared and act like nothing was wrong. And I was embarrassed and ashamed of it. I had more than one Christian in my life bring up the fact that, you know, that's not biblical, that's not godly. If you have depression and anxiety and there's something wrong with your faith and you need to pray about it, and if you would just ask God to take it away, he would. I had a preacher say that, not our preacher, but a preacher say that a little over a year ago. And sometimes carnal Christians say things because they have no understanding of depression and anxiety, schizophrenia, PSTD, all of the different things. And they speak things, carnal Christians is what I call them. I've had many occasions, we've talked about many different people of the Bible that struggled with depression and anxiety. Moses, Job, John, Jesus himself went through mental anguish. I don't know that I would call it depression, but mental anguish. He cried tears of blood. He talked to God about, you know, take this cup from me, but nevertheless your will be done. And he was in anguish at that moment. So, you know, what I would encourage you to do is talk with God on a daily basis. Get in his word, pray, study, get your own understanding. Let God speak to you about the Bible. Understand that those people that say those things, what I have decided is that I'm actually happy for them, because when you say things to that level, it lets me know that you've never dealt with what I have dealt with, or what millions and millions and millions of other people have dealt with. And I'm actually happy for you that you've never had to feel what I feel, or deal with what I deal with, or live through what I've lived through. And I never, even when people say things like that to me, I never want them to feel what I feel. I don't want another living soul to feel what I feel every single day. And so you just kind of have to bob and weave around things, right? And realize that people speak ignorance when they've never experienced it. And that leads to so many different things, you know, so many different situations in our life right now, in our society right now, that if we would stop with the I'm right, you're wrong attitude, if we would have a little compassion, have some love, be the light of the Lord, we would realize that there's a lot of things we don't know and we need to learn and understand. And we would all be better people in a better society if we did. But right now it's all about I'm right, you're wrong, I'm more spiritual than you, I'm a better Christian than you. Just the judgmental side of things. And here's the thing, keep this in mind when you're reacting to situations. When we get to heaven and we're talking with God about giving an account, no one else is going to be standing beside us. It's just going to be you and the Lord. So if person A and person D and person F all led to events that made you act not in the light of the Lord, you're the one he's talking to at the moment, right? And so when I get to heaven, what I want to hear him say is, welcome and come in, right? I'm drawing a blank on the exact phrase, but Christy, I'm so glad to see you. Welcome, welcome, child. Come in. Come into my presence. That's what I'm looking for. And, you know, I've said this before, whether, you know, people say, well, Christianity is outdated. It's not real. It's a made up book. You know, the practices and preachings of that time are outdated, and they're not even relatable to the world today. Here's the thing. So if I'm wrong, right, and this Bible isn't real, and God isn't real, and all the things we've been taught over our lifetime are not true, I've still lived a really good life. I've lived a life that I'm proud of. I lived a life that I have continually tried to improve and to be a better person and a more loving person, a more welcoming person, a better Christian. So what have I lost? Nothing. But if you're wrong, and this Bible is real, and God is real, which he is, and this book is real, I wouldn't want to be where you're going to be. I can tell you on many occasions, I don't feel God every day. I know he's with me, but I don't actively feel him beside me or touching me. But there's been so many things that have happened in life that the only possible conclusion is God in my life, that way before anybody told me about this book or really told me in detail about God, the moment that I realized, the moment my relationship started with God, there's been, I couldn't even tell you how many times I've looked back and think that's God. I mean, that's 100% God. Pure, nothing but God. Nothing could have made this situation happen but God. And so, the harvest is coming, right? God's right there with you when you're crying all these tears. He's never leaving your side. He's right there beside you. And friends, we have a harvest coming. Our harvest is coming. Stay on the road. Stay on the path. If you get detoured, get right back on it, right? If you step out in faith thinking that God's leading you down one way and that's not the way he's leading you, he's going to guide you right back, right? Don't be frozen in fear about things. God's going to guide you back. It was very tempting for me to not start this channel and do this because I was afraid of being judged, being criticized, struggling with mental health issues. Your mind already is very easily to go down. Once you've seen or heard someone's opinion, that tends to stay on repeat in your brain. It doesn't just go in one ear and out the other. And so I thought, Lord, I'm not strong enough to handle you know, the comments that may come back. And he said, that's fine, because I am. I'm going to lead you through it. And it hurts sometimes when you get those comments and you get those judgments. But here's the thing. I'm here to be a child of God. And if people don't love me, I'm okay with that. If you know me, I think that you will love me to an extent, or at least you'll know where I stand on things. But if a stranger just doesn't like me and judges me and makes judgmental things, that's between them and the Lord. I'm doing what he called me to do, and I'm the only one that has to answer for not doing what he called me to do. So your harvest is coming. It's coming, friends. I end every video this way, and it's my hope and prayer that you feel this. God loves you. I love you. Your family loves you. Your friends love you. And we need you here. I look forward to that harvest, friends, and I hope you do too. We'll see you soon. Bye.